Hello, folks. Real pleasure to have Frank Ruland today from SAP. I recently wrote a book called Business as Unusual for a couple of SAP executives. And in the book, there's a whole bunch of partners that systems integrators, strategy firms, etc., very wide range that showed off SAP's ecosystem. And guess who helped me identify all that? This gentleman, Frank, did. So, the book has Bain and Company, a strategy firm. It's got Accenture Strategy. It's got Capgemini as a systems integrator. It's got MHP, which is a automobile-specific, mobility-specific specialist. It's got Industry 4.0 partners. It's got retail specialists. It's got banking specialists. So he is going to present on SAP's ecosystem with the specific twist of industries. Frank, welcome. Looking forward to this.
Hey, thank you, Vinnie, for the kind words of introduction. I hope I can stand up to the test and really deliver and share a bit of the additional details and the experiences from working with you and the partner ecosystem around the larger transformation that we see in industries, and actually also from our partners in the ecosystem. Thanks for the opportunity. Again, as said, so maybe for our audience, Frank Ruland, I have the pleasure of co-leading the industry partner management team within the SAP Partner Ecosystem Success Organization. And for the next couple of minutes, Vinnie asked me to give you a bit of a rundown of where we see the industry partner management evolving and what we have achieved in the context of industry cloud over the last nearly 3 years now. And really, it starts with this, right? In the end, it is all about delivering customer success. And we can only deliver this kind of success that we have throughout the years with our diverse ecosystem. And when Vinnie and I first met a couple of years back at Sapphire, right? We were talking about how we can actually showcase and illustrate the power of the ecosystem, and also illustrate how the ecosystem is evolving in that. Generally speaking, we see that our ecosystem is contributing to the work that we are doing with our customers in 4 ways. Innovation, the influencing of decisions with thought leadership mainly, that leads to then also the adoption of our capabilities in specific segments of the market, customer segments of the market. It's about selling and certainly then the services, the implementation work that we know from our ecosystem so much. But let's maybe zoom in again with the notion of what is the industry partner management, or the industry partner specifically doing. I think what we saw over the last couple of years with a full acceleration is the innovation power, right? We have onboarded, meanwhile, in the context of industry cloud, 350 plus ISV partners to the SAP ecosystem. Some of them had other capabilities, horizontal capabilities in the past, but the power and the beauty and the opportunity as well to actually make those next practices a reality in an industry were very impressive, and we saw a lot of great ideas coming from the ecosystem and great solutions being added to our portfolio, our mutual joint portfolio, and to meet customer needs, and with that also accelerate their move to the cloud. Because Vinnie, as you and I spoke about it in the past, right? What is the purpose? You can create great new ideas on the innovation front, but customers are doing it to optimize their business or transform their business, right? That is the two-pronged approach, if you want, that we have. And with all that power, we need then the other parts of the portfolio to also support that, because we want the same innovation happening regardless of whether the customer sits in the so-called large enterprise segment, or whether they are sitting in the mid-market and lower mid-market, right? So enabling partners to deliver that innovation regardless of customer size is very important. And we've seen that because of this strong emphasis on innovation, that partners that were previously mainly focusing on selling, and to an extent also on implementing SAP products, are now becoming innovation factories as well. Quite an interesting motion, especially if we look at the mid-market segment, as said. And then we saw a lot of interesting use cases actually being developed by our services partners as well. And not everything needs to be packaged up as an application or as a final solution. Many things in some cases are also very customer specific, right? It's the secret sauce of a customer in a given industry. And that combination of innovation and knowing your customer very intimately as a service partner is an interesting combination, because you can help them adopt the innovation that are on the shelf or on the SAP store, so to speak. And then you can help them actually maintain that clear core of the SAP product suite, and then do additional extensions that are customer specific. So quite some areas of showcasing the diverse nature of the ecosystem. And last point on this one, I would specifically emphasize that if you're also looking and thinking about the vast set of industries that our customers are covering, right? I mean, 25 industries, Vinnie, as you know, and all the industry convergence that is also happening, where all of a sudden an automotive customer is having to think about the interaction with the public sector or utilities customers for an electric mobility scenario. You see that opportunity is very large. Or if you think about consumer or wholesale distribution customers thinking about now skipping the B2B and moving into B2C and customer delivery or last mile delivery as well, there are very interesting scenarios that actually showcase how we are going from just optimizing the systems and the processes to transforming them into those next generation or next practice themes that we have. So that's something I would use here in this context. Yeah, as mentioned on the previous slide, and as said already, we see that this notion of the clean core is very important, and the clean core is not just for cloud ERP, it's not just for one of our line of business solutions, but it's in the end relevant for all of these end-to-end business processes that our customers are operating in. And if you're cutting across 25 industries, you see that the overarching notion of industry cloud, extending those processes for a given industry or across all of those industries with next practices and innovation can only happen with a strong contribution from the ecosystem side. And that's what we have represented here as part of our portfolio slide. So just again, recapping, and that's also maybe the call to action, Vinnie, for our audience, right? Don't be afraid by the fact that Frank mentioned, oh, we have already 350 ISV solutions in the portfolio, and that we have already a vast set of partners in the ecosystem. The sky's the limit. We don't know how the market will pivot and what technology advancements we can actually stitch together in the area of business networks or in the area of customer experience and customer relationship management by doing new technology advancements and sharing new capabilities. So that is really the opportunity. And again, from our experience as part of the book, right, mentioning the robotics example, the capabilities that we see with autonomous and really artificial intelligence coming into the mix for robotics as a service has not been seen before. And right now, yes, we're deploying it mainly in the context of, say, warehouse management or logistics processes or inventory processes. Think about what you could do in the area of visual inspection if autonomous systems or autonomous drones are put in the process. And what does that do to the way we were doing plant maintenance or asset maintenance in the past? So in our opinion, and in our experience working with many partners out there across the board, across the different motions that we have, we see more and more ideas coming in, and we just encourage everybody to really support us and participate and approach us with their ideas, because again, with the strong legacy, positive legacy in industries, we feel that a lot of the SAP customers are looking for those next phase of innovations and transformation.
Frank, that is such a positive attitude. I like the fact that just saying, guys, don't be intimidated. We already have so many partners, right? I mean, that when I was writing the book, it was really amazing to see how many cloud IO ISVs you're bringing in, right? I mean, just small. I would think a big company like SAP would say, what's a small vendor startup going to do for us? But you guys were so welcoming. I'd really like the approach you've taken to a lot of other software vendors are not that open to, they just want systems integrators. They don't want anybody else. And so that's great to see.
No, Vinnie, you're absolutely right. At the same time, it is exactly that openness that is it's an opportunity, and it's a power base for us, because you don't know. Also, we cannot fully regulate the market or dictate customers that they can only work with one kind of partners. We are just seeing also in the area of sustainability, or the converging area of sustainability and industry processes, so many new opportunities that we don't want to preclude anything. And we, in most cases, we're not always the smartest people in the room, right? I mean, we have an opinion, and we should have an opinion. We want to support our customers in an end-to-end fashion, so that they can really become those best-run businesses that they aspire. Hey, but there's always, as you mentioned, maybe from the SAP IO side, from some of those cohorts where we're actually actively working with our customers, that they also indicate which startups they are working with, or which startups they would be potentially interested in working with, because we can then take them by the hand and make sure that the contributions from the ecosystem, as well as the SAP contributions, are working hand in hand, and not, oh, we're running this track and you're running that track. That's the other part, because only then we can actually, the technology advancements, or the new digital technologies that we have at our disposal, if they really work hand in hand, then they're creating this next horizon or next pivot. Otherwise, it might be two distinct technologies that we're not getting together. That's my strong belief, and I think also, speaking on behalf of our entire team here, as well as the industry team, we're all feeling the same. We don't know what we don't know.
Frank, that 80% number is really impressive. I don't think any other vendor can say that. That is very impressive, the number.
And we are in a fortunate situation, I think. I mean, mentioning that 80% number here, yes, certainly we acknowledge that, because of the fact that we have such a strong mid-market customer base, it is very easy to also say that 80% of our new customers are actually coming through partners. But exactly that point of coming through partners, they're coming through partners in very different aspects, right? You mentioned the strategy consulting firms, right? Yeah, they provide a strategic direction for the customer, but they need to also then answer the question from our customers of, hey, strategy is nice, but how do I actually get it operational? How do I get the execution right? And with some of the technology capabilities that we have, it's exactly that. It's technology-enabled consulting and technology-enabled strategy implementation. Because again, using that example of, say, sustainability, it's one thing if you are providing me with a sustainability strategy, but we know from the regulations in US, but also in the European Union, EU taxonomy, as one phrase that is being used, hey, those things have to be measured, they have to be recorded, they have to be implemented in a certain way. And that's what we see happening with and through our partners, because they are then at the back end of the process providing the audit trail, or doing the testimonial or testification that this process that the customer has set in their systems is actually working. And then, yeah, as mentioned, the 350 plus ISVs are certainly also helping to achieve that 80% number here. So very happy. And we're actually also seeing that by being a very open and also partner-led organization, we're helping that ecosystem grow and take shape ever more so. The last bit I just wanted to leave with you is three things, right? And also for the audience, Vinnie, is, and again, just referencing the collaboration that we had around the book. We saw so many great industry and customer stories that actually illustrate exactly those 3 points, right? Collaboration, to know what the customer is looking for, knowing what the customer's industry stands for and how that industry is going through the transformation and change, and how they are actually ready to use innovation, right? What is that pivot? What is that next practice that they would like to transform their business processes with? Really on the vertical edge, not just a next phase of, I don't know, payroll, or next phase of a order management process. No, but order management in the context of the changing requirements of the fashion industry, or our example from earlier in the video today around e-mobility, right? I mean, that in itself is such a pivotal change that, hey, it starts maybe with charge point operations, but it then touches the utility asset management space. It then touches the investment planning capabilities of a utility. Then the public sector, when it comes to permit to work or permit to operate, a license to operate, even in some extent, right? And that, now that we have the technical capabilities in place, and that the customer is using the assets. Sorry.
Then you have the billing, the roaming charges,
exactly.
Yeah,
spot on. Absolutely. The subscription billing, the roaming providers, because I don't just want to rely on company A as I'm taking my car over to the Mediterranean instead of just staying within my little surroundings here in Germany, right? I need to operate across multiple utility companies in Europe. Same way I would do that in North America if I'm driving up and down the East Coast. And once I have that infrastructure in place, all those capabilities from SAP and our ecosystem, it's about that trust, right? Because the customer then wants to see those pieces actually working seamlessly together. And one of the key things, Vinnie, that as part of the Industry Cloud program we have started is build out that architectural framework as well, to say, hey, here's a couple of architectural guidelines or paradigms that we're using for SAP product as well as for partner products. And that is one of the elements where the power and the trust and the collaboration and innovation come together to then really service the customers end to end.
Frank, a couple of questions. That was a great presentation. A couple of questions. So, in the analyst community that I travel in, the image of SAP still is, oh God, they only deal with the big firms, the Accentures, the Deloittes, the Capgeminis. I have seen a different part of SAP, but maybe you can respond to that criticism that still applies to SAP.
I think it's actually not a criticism, because it again illustrates that we are also maintaining sustainable relationships. I think what the customers or what the audience, the market sometimes forgets is that they are not always seeing the individual contributions from the other ecosystem players. In the end, it's always the big Accenture, IBMs, Deloittes of the world that do an end-to-end transformation project with our customers. But the contribution that a HXM shift plan planning solution that is being implemented by one of those big system integrators is doing for the customer, for the value creation at the customer, is sometimes forgotten. But hey, in the end, there is no preference, I would say. There's just that strong service part, that consulting part, but the innovation power is equally coming from other sources. And again, just reminding everybody of our book to showcase maybe some of those other examples in, again, e-mobility and other places. And the last comment I'll say to your question, which is a great one, is again, think about also what customer segment you're looking at. Because if you're going into the mid-market, then we're seeing contributions from a whole range of different partners that certainly do not have that brand value or brand recognition, but they are absolutely, and I would be remiss if I just use one or two names here, because then the whole regional aspect comes into play. We have very strong regional and industry-focused partners in Latin America, in parts of Europe, and then even using their country strength or APJ for that matter, that again, I would be, if I just give you one or two names, the others would knock on my door and ask for them to be mentioned as well. So, but that's a strong one. The mid-market is definitely not with those big SI brands that you mentioned earlier.
Well, that was, it's a good segue to my second question, which is, my God, your door must be knocked out all the time. You must get complaints from partners all the time. I'm not getting enough attention. I'm not getting enough leads. So how do you manage? I mean, you still have hair left. How do you manage to all these partners? This is such a broad range in the ecosystem.
Well, the good thing is, I'm not by myself, and I'm just having the pleasure of being the one that you're having this interview today with, or our little recording. But as you saw from the book, we can rely, and that's the beauty now. We have a very strong partner-led organization as a whole, right? I can talk to my IBU, my industry business unit colleagues in oil and gas or automotive or services, the professional services team, and they have this, they have the partner DNA fully embedded within themselves. They see that ecosystem contribution day in, day out. And that's why not everybody's knocking on just Frank's door, but they're knocking on Mitun's door and Kerstin's door and all the other people that we have in the team. And lastly, one person's industry partner is another person's line of business partner, right? So we have that matrix to our advantage as well. And yeah, just reiterating again, Vinnie, that motion, and that's also again the word to the customers out there as well as to the partners out there, that we really truly embrace that idea of a partner-led organization. So understanding that this comes with a requirement as well. It comes with a toll with a positive toll that we have to pay as well. And that is, we want to make sure that our partners know exactly what the future industry trends are, and that they also see that we are coming back, or that we're listening to them, and we are taking this feedback that they are sharing with us as well very serious, right? Because again, you ask about the large and the small. That value that they are bringing to us as multipliers, as force multipliers of what the customers are doing out there with our capabilities as well as with other tools is just humongous. I mean, just behind me, you see little poster from one of our industry summits that we did in UK. Tremendous feedback from the audience of, in this case, some 60 plus partners from all different kinds, but with a focus on utilities. They wanted to talk a full day utilities only, and we had the same for discrete manufacturing, for the professional services industries and others. So that bidirectional communication is helping us a lot, and then we can distribute that across the entire organization.
Frank, you're such a positive person, such a high energy person, and you love your job. That's why you didn't even talk about there must be lots of negatives in your job. I bet you those partners beat up on you and go, Frank, you're not sending me enough business. Frank, you're not being nice to us. So thank you, Frank. I mean, clearly, you're such a positive person. It's always fun to catch up with you, and thank you for bringing the industry flavor today. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Vinnie, for the opportunity. I'm looking forward to the next session and actually sharing some more success stories with you and the teams.
We should do this every 6 months. Well,
thank you.
Your ecosystem keeps evolving. So thank you.
Very true. Very true. Very